Good morning. My name is Reverend Ron Card, and I would like to welcome you on behalf of the Center for Spiritual Living Carlsbad in Carlsbad, California. And this is Facebook Live. I guess I should say this, I'm on Facebook Live. And this morning, what I'm going to be doing is giving the Sunday morning message. It is my Sunday morning to do it, and we rotate on a rotating basis at our center. Last week, Reverend Kate, she did the Sunday morning message at Easter, and then a week before, Reverend Lori, and then Reverend Amandra. And so this is my morning to do the Sunday morning message. And I'm really excited about this in a couple of ways, but I also have some things to kind of confess to you. The first thing is, you may hear from time to time some birds. We have 3 parakeets, and they like to sing occasionally, and they like to talk a little bit, and so you may hear that through the message. But, again, you may not. And then also, I have a dog, and her dog name is Abby. And Abby is sleeping right now, so I don't think you'll hear her, but if you hear a bark, that's just part of the talk. So, also, I have to confess, this is my first time doing Facebook Live. I've not ever done it before, so I'm really looking forward to doing this. I'm used to standing at a podium, looking out at the congregation or the audience, and speaking, and yet here I am. I'm in my home in Oceanside, California. I'm sitting in my dining room, and I'm sitting at a table, and I'm looking at an iPhone. So it is a little bit different. Now, our theme for this month is transformation. And it's kind of interesting on how we pick these themes. We usually pick them a month or 2 months in advance, and we picked transformation for April because of Easter and also because of the resurrection and the crucifixion of the Christ and its meaning. But also, too, look at all the other changes that have really kind of come about in April. We look around the world. We look across our country, we look in our states, we look in our cities, we look in our communities. Just think of all the things that have changed in the last several weeks towards the end of end of March and into April. And when I think of transformation, what I think about is I think about change. I think about change in form, and I think about change in appearances. Say for instance, you take a pan and you fill it with water, and if you swish it around, it's kind of liquidy. But if you put it in the freezer and you leave it in there for a while, it freezes. It becomes more solid. It becomes ice. But then if you take it back out of the freezer and you put it on the stove, and you light the stove and you let it come to a boil, what happens is you get steam. So it changes from form to appearances. And, that's what I'm going to be talking a little bit about this morning, is the change, the transformation. But we also have another type of transformation. It's called spiritual transformation. And what spiritual transformation is, this is a fundamental change in a person's spiritual life. Or it could actually be a change in the meaning at which a person holds towards a religion, or maybe even towards a belief. I feel that I've had in my life some spiritual transformation, and I think a lot of us have. It's just that we don't acknowledge them or look at them in terms of spiritual transformations. When I was young, growing up, I was very confused about religion. I was very, very confused about God. My mom, she was a Baptist, and my stepdad, he was a Catholic. And so actually when I was old enough to go to church, I went to a Baptist church for a few years. And then I switched over to a Catholic church for a few years. And I became very, very confused. I became very confused about actually what is religion, and especially about God. Because what I learned is that, God was that person in the sky, in the clouds, that has the long gray flowing hair and has the beard and has a staff, and he's looking down. That's where heaven is. And I found it really, really hard for me to kind of relate to that. I felt there was something different. And so as I continued to grow up in years and years, I never went to a church. I didn't talk about God. I just really stayed away from all that. And then when I was dating my wife now, Linda, she had mentioned to me that she was going to a church. And she was going to a church she thought that I might enjoy going to. And so I told her I'd be interested in going, and so we went. And it was a religious science church, and it was called the First Church of Religious Science in Vista. Some of you may know about that church. But anyways, I went with Linda, and I can remember going through the doors and sitting in the seat, and I just listened to the minister during the whole service. And I really liked what he was saying. I could really, grab that. I just, how you hear something or you see something and inside it just says yes, yes, yes. Well, that's kind of like what I felt. And so I began to go more every Sunday to this church, and soon I began taking classes. And then I became interested in becoming a practitioner. And then I went on into ministry. And now what I do is I teach science of mind. And I'm hoping that during this talk this morning that I can relate some of these principles here. Now, before I continue on, I want to tell you a little story first. This is a story that I found on the internet, and I think it really kind of, relates to struggle. It relates to change. Because that's the other thing I want to talk about. The name of my talk being Working Through Struggle. And there was this little boy, and he was playing outside. And as he was playing outside, he looked down, he saw this little caterpillar, and what he did is he scooped it up in his hands, and he took it home. He wanted to show his mom what he had found. And when he showed her the caterpillar, he also asked her, "Can I keep him for a pet?" And she said, "You can, but you got to make sure you take good care of him." So what he did is he got a jar, and he put his caterpillar in the jar, and he put plants in there for the caterpillar to eat. And then he put a stick in there for the caterpillar to climb on. And every day he just got up and he would just watch the caterpillar, and he would bring it new plants for it to eat. But then one day, something strange started to happen. The caterpillar, he climbed up on the stick and he started acting a little funny. And the boy was becoming a little concerned, not knowing what the caterpillar was doing. So he went and he got his mom. And so they both sat there and they watched the caterpillar. And in a few minutes, the mom knew exactly what the caterpillar was doing. The caterpillar was building a cocoon. And so what she told the little boy is, your caterpillar, what he is going to do is he's going to go through a change, and it's called metamorphosis. The caterpillar is going to become a butterfly. Now this little boy was absolutely thrilled. He was just tickled. He was excited about the changes that were going to happen to his caterpillar. And every day he watched, he was just waiting for this butterfly to emerge. Then the day it happened. The caterpillar, what he did is he made a small hole in the cocoon, and he appeared at the tip of the cocoon, and the butterfly started to struggle to come out. At first the boy was really, really excited, but then he got a little concerned because the butterfly just was struggling so hard, and it almost looked like that there was just no way it was going to come out of the cocoon. And so, being concerned, he figured, well, I'm going to help my caterpillar. Or I'm going to help my little butterfly. So he went and he got a pair of scissors, and he came back and he snipped the end of the cocoon to make even a larger hole. And when he did this, the butterfly came out, and it came out much easier, and it came out without all that stress that it was having before. But what happened is, when it did come out, the little boy was really surprised at what he saw. He saw a butterfly that had a swollen body and small, shriveled wings. He continued to watch his butterfly with the hopes that at any moment that the wings would dry out, enlarge and expand to support the swollen body so that the butterfly would start to fly. But guess what? It just didn't happen. The butterfly spent the rest of its life just kind of crawling around the bottom of the cage, with a swollen body and these dried up wings. But as the little boy watched the butterfly and the mom watched the butterfly, they were trying to figure out what happened. Why is the butterfly not flying? And so what the mom decided to do is they went and they saw a scientist at their local college. And because they really wanted to find out why is the butterfly doing what he's doing? But what they learned was that the butterfly was supposed to struggle. It was supposed to really push its way through that tiny opening that it made at the beginning. It would push the fluid out of its body and into the wings. Without that struggle, the butterfly would never, ever fly. Even though the little boy had great intentions or good intentions, he really hurt the butterfly. So what the moral of the story is that as we go through life, we have to keep in mind that struggle is an important part of our growth experience. In fact, it is the struggle that causes you to develop your ability to fly, yours and mine. Take a look at what's happening in our world right now. It's just different. We live in pandemic situation. We are told to stay home. We are told that what we need to do is we need to social distance when we are out. We are told to wear a mask and to wear gloves. All this is frightening. It's creating very scary situation for all of us, and it creates a little bit of stress in our lives. Look at the way we go to the grocery store now. They have senior hours where seniors can go from 6 to 7:30. But then, the amount of people they let into the store, it's monitored. And then it's really hard sometimes to find the products you want, like toilet paper or like gloves or masks. Even the way we do church. Instead of going to a center and instead of actually being around live people, hugging, shaking hands, potluck dinners, what we're doing is we're doing church either on Zoom or we're doing Facebook Live, like just what I'm doing right here, right now. We are having challenges at work. Just think about it. A lot of people are home. A lot of people are furloughed. They're being laid off. They're not working at all. Only companies that are essential are running. So a lot of people are struggling. How do I get back to work? How do I pay my bills? How do I make money? I really feel that through this teaching and also outside of this teaching, there are ways things that we can do that is going to help us and assist us through moving through the struggles that we have, especially now. But I personally feel that struggle strengthens our character. The moment in life, that we are the most proud of, oftentimes happens where we overcome the hardships, we overcome those struggles to achieve something that is really worth it. When you're really struggling or having a hard time or really moving through that challenge and you come out through the other side of that, it's like, wow, yeah, just think how much you grow. Some of the different ways that we can reduce the stress, and the struggle in our lives. One of the ways would be to meditate. We are taught in this teaching where meditation, where you become really silent, where you really go within. You really listen for that small, tiny voice from within to get direction or to move you along. Meditation has the ability to lower stress rates, and increase personal well-being. Another way would be to exercise. Regular exercise has so many benefits, both physically and also psychologically. I know now that we have to stay home more. There's only so much TV you can watch. There's only so much reading you can do. There's only so many things that, that Linda and I can talk about, where you just want to have that urge, where you just want to just get out. And so I go out for a walk around my complex. Great exercise. You're out in nature. You just seem to get a whole different focus on what's happening around you. Also, gratitude. Gratitude's a great way. You can make a gratitude list. Be grateful. The relationship between gratitude and well-being has been well documented. People who continually focus on the positive in their lives may have greater self-esteem. It lowers our depression, and it overall improves our life satisfaction. We need to be blessed for everything. Blessed that you have a home. Blessed that, you're safe and that you're healthy. There's so much to be blessed for. But what really carries me through? What really carries me through the rough times, what really carries me through when I'm stressed, when I just don't know the direction or the answer, and I'm really struggling, is prayer. Prayer for me is the answer. It is the backbone of our teaching. Maybe that's why I'm so, I just feel so, much about it. Science of mind. It's really my way of living. I do affirmative prayer, also known as spiritual mind treatment. And the reason why we call it spiritual mind treatment is because it has steps. It has steps. And I also believe that I believe in God. I believe that God is that power that is within us, that moves through us. I believe each one of us is an expression of God. And this is where we find God, in me, but also in you. And I believe that it is through prayer that we can utilize, we can contact this power, and we can really use it. I feel that prayer is that connection. Now, what I'd like to do is, I found another story on the internet. When we do talks, what we do is we look around on the internet to find things that we can talk about. And I ran across this story, and I think it has a lot to do with struggles. It has a lot to do with how we look at stress in life. How the struggles that we face in life and how we can work through a lot of these struggles. And so once upon a time, a daughter complained to her dad that, her life was just miserable, that she didn't know how she was going to just make it through the day, that she was just so tired. She was fighting and struggling all the time. And then it seemed like she'd get one problem solved, and then another problem would rise. Sounds like us in some cases, doesn't it? Like we get through one thing and all of a sudden there's another thing. Well, her father, he was a chef, and so what he did is he took her into the kitchen, and he took 3 pots, and what he did is he filled them with water. And then he placed them on a burner, and he let them boil. And once they came to boil, what he did is he placed a potato in one pot, and then what he did is he placed an egg in the second pot, and then he took coffee beans and he put them in the third pot. And he just let them sit there and boil. And the daughter, she was watching, and she was trying to be patient. She's kind of wondering, what are you doing? Why am I watching this? And after about 15 or 20 minutes, he turned off the burners. And then what he did is he took the potato out of the pot and he placed it into a bowl. And then he went and he took the egg, he took it out of the pot, and he placed that into a bowl. And then he took a ladle, and he took the coffee, and he took it out of the cup, and he placed it into a cup. And then he turned to her, and he said, "Daughter, what do you see?" And the daughter, she's kind of looking. He says, look a little closer. And then he said, touch the potato. And she did. And she noticed that the potato, it was soft. And then he asked her to take the egg and break it. And after pulling the shell off, she observed that the egg was hard. It was hard-boiled egg. And finally asked to sip the coffee out of the other cup. And the rich aroma just brought a smile to her face. And her father looked at her and says, this is what it means. He explained that the potato, the egg, and the coffee had all each faced the same adversity, the boiling water. However, each one reacted a little differently. The potato went in strong, hard, and unrelenting. But after being in the boiling water, it came out soft and weak. The egg was fragile, with a thin outer shell protecting the liquid interior until it was put into the boiling water. Then the inside of the egg became hard. However, the coffee grounds, or the coffee, it was unique. After they were exposed to the boiling water, they changed the water and created something new. Which one are you? When adversity knocks at your door, how do you respond? Are you the potato? Are you the egg? Or are you the coffee? Now, the moral of this is, in life, things happen around us. Things happen to us. But the only things that really and truly matter is the way you choose to react to it and what you make out of it. Life is all about learning. It's all about adapting. It's all about converting all the struggles that we experience into something positive. I really want to end this, and I want to thank you for allowing me and in your home and spending some time with me this morning. But remember, live life consciously and be careful of your thoughts, because thoughts are things also. Meditate, exercise, show gratitude, and also to remember prayer, because I really do believe that with prayer, all things are possible. And remember, are you the potato? Are you the egg? Are you the coffee? Thank you, and namaste.